5-needle white pine. I have it in this. I was hoping to transplant it last year, and I had put a bunch of raffia on it, and wire to kind of bend this to get more movement out of it, and you can see it really sort of bulged this section, and goes all the way around pretty much to here. You kind of see it, but this was my original. I'm pretty sure this was my original sort of front, something like that. Maybe it was like that, probably like that. Actually, usually this is kind of forward. Anyways, it's probably something like that. You can see it's quite forward. Makes sense. That's where I would have put the sort of apex. And so, you know, that's probably not where it was. It's probably something like that to get a little more movement there. But now that I've got this bulging, I don't like it. I mean, it might be hard to see from the video, but it definitely creates some reverse taper. And that was a wire just cutting too tight, and then it bulging around the wire. You know, it might grow out of it at some point, but I'm thinking that I can turn it this way, and I actually get not great movement at the base, but almost a little more, and then have the tree maybe even there. Yeah, it's just this branch kind of comes forward, but I can bend that over to the right a little bit, and so it kind of flows up into the right, and then I might even be able to maybe not create a literati style, but something like that. You see I have this straight section here. I obviously had bent that at some point. I mean, could I bend it back and then get one more? Could. It starts to get a little, you know, that straightens out that, but anyways, I'll have to kind of figure out that might just be kind of hidden. Might just try to kind of hide that straight section in there. Maybe I can bend it a little. What did it look like from the front? Oh yeah, I see. So I had managed to get a little bend in it. You still kind of see that. So I'm really just trying to deal with this flaw of some sort. So I do think that's, it's still pretty big. Anyways, I'm gonna wire it up, and pull, you know, I'll pluck some of these old needles, not too much. I still want to be super vigorous, and I got to transplant it next year. So yeah, I'll wire it up, and then I'll start looking again at the design and see which way I want to kind of make the front. I mean, I think I can probably use some of these branches to hide this, and that's probably my best bet. At least break it up a bit. Just thought I'd pause in my design because made a mistake, and I think it will be educational for people to hear about this. So I'm, you know, I've done kind of the usual mistake, which is sometimes I don't wire right to the tips, and then I can't turn them up, right? And some of them I don't like have any wire on, and so that's going to really reduce the strength. But here you can see they're all kind of coming up. But anyway, the other piece I wanted to mention was this. I was looking for some branches back there because there was this big space, and I had this branch, and I've looped it around, and that looks okay. You do see this sort of hole here, or this circle, which, you know, especially in the video, it kind of, it's like, whoa, well, that's weird when you see all the other branches. It kind of gets lost when you're just looking at it. And then of course what you have here is too big of a top. I haven't quite finished styling the top. I am thinking of getting rid of this and pulling that down a bit, but it's too dense for the rest of the tree. It's this huge top, like helmety thing, when there's nothing on the lower branches. And then I have this lower branch back here, so it thins out the top. I can make it go to the left. Branch is a bit funky, but I can make it go to the left, pull it into this space here. There'll be a bit of a gap, but that's okay, and use this branch back here for depth and get rid of that. So, you know, just in my, you know, not ability to sort of like think through the whole design, I'm like, I need to get a branch over here. It's going to be so empty. I can't pull this one down much. You know, I'll probably pull that one in here. So I use that one, and, you know, I mean, this is the thing. I'm hiding things in it and making mistakes, but better that I fix it now. And then the other piece that I'm noticing is this. So we have that straight one. that I do not know how to get rid of. I don't think I can bend that. Maybe with some really strong wire. I probably could bend it. And then this flat thing here, so. A few weeks later. But yeah, so I actually took that branch off that I had looped and put in behind. And then there was a branch, and partly because it was just so thick. It was a very thick branch coming off the top. And I had styled it down there, and then I was like, wow, this is such a thick, big branch that I don't love. So yeah, so then I found there was a branch up here that I could use to fill in this space that I was talking about. So that worked out really well. Yeah, and then this branch that I was saying, oh, I could fill over there, I ended up putting in here because there was a gap over here. So all in all, I'm just really happy with how it sort of turned out, and I've made it, angled it off a bit. Now, if I turned it this way, I would straighten out this little bit here, so it kind of goes left and then all kind of goes right. And actually maybe that's the best angle for movement, just as far as you get a little bit more in there. And then I was able to, I put some heavy gauge wire on there. That was going straight up. I turned it over, and so then I had to readjust that, but that allowed for these two branches to kind of stay on. And I could probably pluck a few more of those top needles to thin it out so it looks more proportional, because it does have a big, sort of a big head on it. But overall, I love working with pine. I've just realized it's so easy to wire, and you get these nice lines. I'm not dealing with all these little needles that I'm used to with the hemlocks or the spruce or a lot of the other sort of trees. And if I had done this in the spring, I think I might have plucked off all of these second year needles and just left it with this year's needles. But I wouldn't have had those this year's needles, so it would have been plucked down just to this anyways. But I was like, oof. And you can see they're quite a bit longer. I mean, it's quite a bit. It's not too much. But I thought, if I pluck it right down, it's gonna have a hard time surviving through the summer. If I had done this work 3rd week of August, 4th week of August, and it was cool, I could have probably gotten away with it. But yeah, it's really looking nice. I mean, this is a bit of a, pull it out of the light so you don't see it. It's a bit of a strange branch there coming down. I'll actually put a little more movement in that right now. So I put a little more movement in there. I got this really thin wire, and so it's not actually gonna hold very well. So that's kind of what's going on there. So, I was always same sort of learning, just wire well, do it well once. Don't skimp on the wire, just go for it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Give a comment, it makes all the difference for me. Larch, this is what happens when you don't get around to trimming it. And I had it in the shade, so you can see it's just producing super long needles, super long internodes. I mean, yeah, I guess between needles. And it's just, it's what do you call it, expanding out. The needles are huge. So I need to have it in more sun, but I also need to trim it back and hopefully get another flush out of it. I've got tons and tons of growth in there. So I'm going to just, trim it back, do some branch selection, like, get away from bar branches. Do I want this one or this one? I mean, this is nice with the split there, and, just start making some decisions in there. Like that is darn thick. That is darn thick up there. So maybe I can get rid of that if there's another branch in there. So that'll be sort of the process. Thicker branches at the bottom, building those to be thicker proportionally, and thinner up at the top. So there we are. I've tried to fix that up because that was really rough. And you can see I've kind of brought a few down with some wire just to kind of bring them down a little bit more. I don't like the sort of, that's just, there we go. horizontal branches coming out, but a few of them are okay, as you can see, like there and there. But leave it for now. You know, I could bring this one down a little bit, but it's brand new and I just want to leave it. So we'll see how it kind of produces. Maybe I'll take a little bit more of that off right now and then show you what it looks like once it's flushed out. Okay, here's the larch after that intense trim. So I'm actually really looking forward for the needles to turn that golden color and then contrast it with that sort of green. You know, this is just a cheap $10 green container, you know, and surprisingly it lasted throughout the winter, which is great. But you can see just even after letting it grow out and do all that in a small container, it's really just pushed out lots. So I got lots to work with. Might trim it back just a bit for sort of aesthetic, make it look like a more conical larch form. Well, maybe not even larch, but just more look like a tree versus sort of a bush with those long branches. But yeah, just to show you. And again, I had it not in enough sun, I think, and so it produces these really long, spindly ones. But other than that, I'm getting nice short nodes, and so that's actually what you want. So yeah, just wanted to give you a little update on that. It's looking really good.